Feeling quite nostalgic today. I'm going to be looking back at one of my favorite campaigns. All of my campaigns are one of my favorite campaigns. This one takes me back to over 5 years ago. This was a national managed IT company with multi offices across the city in all major cities. They focused on photocopiers, managed print solutions, telecommunications, unified communications, VoIP, and all of the in-between key terms. Now, we took the traffic, let me move my big head just over here. We took the traffic from under 1,000 visitors a month when we first started to work on the site, and we hit 15,000 organic visitors a month. SEMrush will say something else, but we peaked at 24,000 visitors a month according to SEMrush. Now, this website had a very interesting life in that the business was sold and we had to redirect the domain, essentially migrate and cannibalize the whole site into a new domain, which is why there's one chart goes down, one chart goes up. This was a pretty huge migration, and today I'm going to share both what we did for the initial campaign to rank for a whole bunch of profitable keywords. Here we can see the organic traffic value that we were hitting. Now, before I dive into this, basically they found me in a very interesting manner. At the time, I was building a lot of directory listicles, and one of the head of marketing was running other businesses as well. He found me through one of my listicles in a completely different niche, and he said, "Wow, how did you do this? You popped to the top of Google so quickly. Let's get you on board on our main business." Now, the business goals are always leads, new business inquiries. At the time, they were running a Squarespace website. It's quite a large company. They had an in-house marketing team, in-house developers, in-house advertisers. And so to have someone like me come in and essentially just cover off all angles can be a little bit intrusive for some. But nevertheless, we made quite a meaningful impact. So the key wins with this campaign, because my job was to jump in and acquire traffic, essentially top of funnel traffic. All of the keywords were provided to me. In fact, I still have a list of all of the initial wish list keywords they sent my way. So these were the categories that we were going after: business phone systems, VoIP phones, cloud migration, telematics, fleet tracking, document management software, delivery management software. And so what all of this meant to me was, hey, these are just pages that we need to build out. We need to prove to Google that we're trustworthy on these topics, be it with sales pages, be it with guide-like content, and of course, backlinks. Now, this is a space I know quite well. I've got other national IT companies in the same space as well. These were at different sort of timelines, but one is in computer repair, laptop repair, more photocopiers, which I'd say we ran about $1 million worth of Google ads as well, pretty much on print and photocopiers, photocopier lease, photocopier rentals. So I'm quite confident in the space these days. So as we can see, initially they were sitting on less than 100 organic visitors a month. Once again, this is an estimation from Ahrefs, which is just an estimation tool. The truth is somewhere in between this and SEMrush, and then of course looking at the Google Search Console and Google Analytics. And so what we initially did, we planned out a whole new website with a new page structure. So let's have a quick squiz. I think I saved the page structure. These were the keywords that we were going after and their search volume. So VoIP, we ranked at the top of Google for one word, just VoIP. That was with a guide on what is VoIP, and then we internally linked to our main service pages, managed IT, photocopiers. So these were the directional keywords that we were after: business phone systems, telematics, and these was just a real quick snapshot of some of the movements within the first 6 months. So we were up against the likes of Telstra, Cisco, Cloud, and we basically moved the keywords up to position 1. Now, these are a mixed bag of keywords. I just quickly grabbed some reporting from 5 years ago, but this is basically keywords that were in position over 100, moving across to position 1. These were some of the competitors that we're after. You can see Optus, Telstra, and here we are moving into first position. We had, what have we got here? Another keyword. This was managed print services. There you go. So we built geo service pages. So managed print services Brisbane. And you could bet that we did that for Canberra, for Sydney, for Melbourne, for all major cities. Here's another one, business phone systems Sydney. We basically outranked the likes of NextGen and a whole bunch of others. Another keyword moving up and down and holding first position. What's this? Business phone systems Australia. So this was a national keyword. Now there are hundreds of other keywords like this. This was just what I could quickly copy from the reports. Some more keywords moving up, but what I wanted to show some more and more is the exact structure of the page. So basically when a client tells us that we offer these services and where do we offer them across all major cities, the first thing we look at is the search volume. Are there people searching for those keywords in that particular city or suburb? And if the answer is yes, then we built the page. I would still do this in 2025. This campaign is 2020, so 5 years ago. I would still do it. Back then, we could get away with almost duplicate content on the pages, whereas now I would be making the content super, super unique. Look, even back then, we made unique, meaningful content, but back then I was using, not on this site, but on my test sites, I was using plugins that we created that would generate pages in bulk, so I could create 30,000 suburb pages in the one go. That's the kind of stuff that used to work then. It could work now on a domain with high authority, with lots of backlinks hitting. I probably wouldn't do that now, but these are the exact pages that we built. So GPS asset tracking, delivery management software. So we're up against software companies, business phone systems, VoIP, photocopies. This is the exact URL structure that we rolled with. So if there were search volumes, I don't know what the hell we're doing here, printing. We kept these pages this way because the old Squarespace site had these pages, so we left them for the continuation of SEO juice. Or this is, I've just pulled the wrong report and this shouldn't be there altogether. Accounts payable, document management, cloud RT management. So these are a whole bunch of different, I call them, each of these spaces has its own set of competitors because each of these spaces has its own specialists that specialize in that particular space. Like cloud migration is a keyword on its own. And so that was taken into consideration when it came to the SEO budget, because each of these requires its own link juice. Each of these requires its own cluster of blog content. And back then, my strategies on blogs were just being soaked up to Google. So we would research the PAA people also asked. We would research buying guides, how to choose a photocopier, how to rent versus lease photocopiers. And by that stage, I think 2017, 2018, I got really good at deconstructing the top 10 results across multiple countries, English-speaking countries, on a certain topic. And I was able to get the exact metrics to use to create that perfect page, that perfect blog, that perfect sales page. This is 2017, 2018. So that by the time this campaign hit my desk, it's like we did this. And that's a very nice graph. So what we're looking at here is organic pages. You can see that the new website went up around June. And you can see the yellow line is new pages that we were adding to the website. The orange, the dark orange one is the organic traffic. Okay, takes a while to marinate. So you can see it's quite a delayed effect before things began to ramp up. So September to February, about that 6-month period. And then the middle chart is showing the actual value of those keywords, because sometimes you can get traffic but on useless keywords. So the traffic chart goes up, but the organic traffic value doesn't go up much or goes up a little bit. This basically shows that we are actually showing up for keywords that matter, because at its peak, Ahrefs, which has got terrible Google Ads data, is estimating that we were hitting 15,000 USD monthly visitors a month. And what that basically means is if we were to pay Google Ads for the exact keywords that we rank for, it's basically an estimation that the keywords that you're showing up for is valuable. But once again, Ahrefs has really poor cost per click data, So that number is super conservative when you do fire up an ad on a keyword that is actually valuable, especially in the managed print space, photocopiers. You'd find that those clicks are $10, $12, $15, $20 a click, and we've spent quite a lot of money on Google ads in that space. This particular client was running Google ads internally. We helped them with their keyword targeting, and we created unique sales landing pages. So if someone was searching for Sydney managed print solutions or Sydney related terms, they were hitting the Sydney landing page, and conversion tracking was being set up through that. So what we actually did, we took them off Squarespace, which is a default of mine. Not that I have anything against Squarespace, it's just that if the goal is to rank on Google, if you throw in any keyword in Google and you type in photocopiers, right? You click on, let's say, laser scan, Canon's not going to be WordPress. You click on these brands, Konica Minolta's not going to be WordPress, but a lot of these sites, this looks like a WordPress site, will be a lot of the time WordPress websites. It's not loading for me. That's WordPress. I doubt it that Canon's using WordPress. Yeah, they're not. But a lot of there's another WordPress. I'm not saying Squarespace can't rank. There's another WordPress, and Sharp definitely won't be on WordPress, but a lot of the smaller businesses, medium enterprises will still be on WordPress, and it's very rare to find a Squarespace website or a Wix website for that matter at the top of Google. Nothing against those platforms. If you want a quick, beautiful website up, get one of those built. But if you want it to progress through the ranks, if the goal is to win a race, would you choose a bike or a bus over a Formula One? It's just Formula One will win most of the time, you'd hope. So Squarespace website got rebuilt with a new URL structure, new URL plan, and that's where we began to do a lot of competitor research on the key terms. So what I essentially did is I deconstructed the top competitors. Here are the ads. That's another thing that I don't click on the ads. I can just see down the bottom here where the ad traffic is going to, and I see, okay, they have no sales page, it's the same SEO traffic that's hitting that site and other factors. But then if I grab this domain and I look at the top competitors, I pay attention to their metrics. So here we go. I can see organic traffic value. I'm going to just drop it down here. So sitting on 133 visitors a month, not a monster site. I look at their backlinks. I can see 46 unique domains linking out 612 times. That just tells me I can match and overtake this domain fairly with just my own personal sites. I've got like 800 domains that are my own. 50 of those sites are in the IT space. Mix that with some guest posts and niche edits. I reckon we can overtake these guys fairly quickly. What else do I pay attention to? Oh, that was then, all time. Here we go. Oh, they've dropped heavily. Looks like they peaked in 2024. Looks like one of these algorithms hit them. Keyword data. Yeah, March 2024 core algorithm looks like it wasn't very kind to them, and down they go. Maybe they had a website rebuild. Anyway, the purpose of this video is not to deconstruct the competitors, but these are the kind of things I pay attention to. I check top pages. I see what pages they have that are getting the most traffic, and I pay attention to those pages. And if my client needs those pages, we built them up. For example, product type, photocopiers, no brainer. We did that as well. So I look at the top 10 websites like this. I collect all the keywords. With keywords, I don't know why, it's just a personal preference, but I like to use SEMrush for keywords, but Ahrefs is just as good. And we look at search volumes, search intent, we look at questions. We've got, look at this, 1.8 thousand questions. So these days, back then, I used to just create a blog on almost every unique topic, and sometimes we would create 10 blogs on almost the same question. It was just different ways that question would get worded. These days I'd put these into a list. I'd organize them in a way where there's minimal or no cannibalization, and I would drill 10 blogs on this particular copy. The blogs that these days are created that are almost like natural language processing, in terms of it's almost like spoken language. conversational to help show up in things like ChatGPT. So we deconstruct competitors quite heavily. So another thing that I like doing is I jump into Screaming Frog and I'll look at the top 10 competitors and I'll throw their site into a Screaming Frog audit. This helps me find things that they might be hiding from the Google index. Sometimes I discover sales pages and things like that, things that are in the background that maybe they forgot to close off. I'm quite respectful when I crawl sites. I slow down the speed to 4 URLs, which is, even that's pretty fast, but I do a Screaming Frog crawl, and this basically gives me data on, it sends a little spider crawler to the website and it maps out the whole site for me. I can see 2017 banners they were doing, some kind of logos. This is really enjoyable to me. I can see all of the brands they're listing, all of the stuff that's in the background. And this is all public information, because if you visit any website and you press F12, you get this code on the right hand side. So that's all this software is doing. It's called Screaming Frog. It's free for 500 URLs. So I'll look at the pages. I then will have a look at things like their anchor text. I'll have a look at their referring domains, linking anchors, gap analysis. So anchors is basically the clickable link that goes from one page to another or one website to another. Anchors matter because they basically teach the spider and the search engines the intent of certain pages. I look at gaps, content gaps. I look at our website and I look at the competitors and I map out what keywords are missing. And from there, I schedule either SEO pages to be built or blogs to be created. I look at their internal linking strategies. So for example, these guys over here, I know I'm picking on this domain. Let me just pick another one. Anyway, gonna have a look at these guys. Melbourne Copiers, yep. Nothing special. Honestly, this looks like they just got lucky with an exact match domain and the last algorithms have been all over the place. But this, I can already see the type of site that is. These are my typical lead gen sites that I build. I let them marinate, and when they pop up like this, I make use of them. Look, it's gonna have poor metrics, most likely, barely any URL. It's just an exact match domain and now it's just popped up. I don't know if they've had a rebuild or something like that. This is so common these days. It's a free-for-all with Google. It's a bit of a wild west because you've got genuine big brands and Google's just flopping them around. This is why it's important to diversify lead sources from Facebook to Google. In this space, this is definitely Google Ads and SEO. I do see a lot of companies run Facebook ads in this space. So Facebook ad library. I think Copysonic, which is, what's that other brand? Photocopiers. This one. This is the lead gen site. These guys run quite a lot of Facebook ads. So compare photocopies. If I go to Facebook ad library, this is one of the things I always do is I check out compare copiers. Bang, you can see the ads that they're running. Here we go. 14 total ads. And they're basically, ever wondered if you're overpaying for printing? Yeah, office environments. They do a lot of printing. These are the kind of ads that they're running. So I'd be spending my time looking at their ads, firing up an ad, get offer. Where does that take them? That just takes them to the home page. Interesting. So they're using their home page and they new additional device, replace and upgrading existing device. This is it. They're just running all the ads through here. I'm sure this is running a lot of Google Ads traffic as well. So these are the kind of competitor analysis that we commonly do. They're not doing too well on the SEO front. Looks like they're just advertising a lot. They always had a big budget on Google Ads and Facebook ads. I'll pay attention to the history of the competitors, what made them rank. Was it a rebuild? Google Ads Transparency Center is pretty cool. That allows basically me to spy on competitors. Compare copies from a Google Ads standpoint. Compare copies. There we go. You can see that their ads they're running and you can see where they're sending them. There are a lot of tools out there. I'm just trying to, I know I'm showing Ahrefs and SEMrush. There are a lot of other tools out there that are great. You've got fullplay.co, or CA or something, which allows you to spy on and do research on a lot of Facebook ads. And then there's Spy for You for Google Ads. But honestly, there's so much data already in Ahrefs and SEMrush that I personally don't need anything else. So we've looked at a whole bunch of competitors, and every single competitor that we look at, I will download their top pages. That's a bad example. Let me find someone that's somewhat worthy. Copiers, Sydney. It's probably going to be another Computer Sydney. Copier rental, Sydney. All right, let's check these guys out. Give me something good. You can see there's the, a little bit better, 300 organic visitors a month, been thrown around by Google a little bit. So each competitor that I visit, I will look at their top pages, top keywords, and every single time I will just download it, and until I have lots of sheets of all of their keywords. I'll remove the duplicates. I will then, back then we didn't have ChatGPT, I will then manually group them by intent. Luckily SEMrush has some good intent data where it shows you informational, transactional. Ahrefs has the same thing as well with their Keyword Explorer. But basically that's where we group the keywords into clusters and we decide what we do with them, whether it's going to be a service page, an FAQ, an SEO blog, or a geo page. This is also where we set up rank trackers. So based on the wish list of keywords that the client wants to rank for, in this case we had about 5 rank trackers set up for 5 cities, plus SEMrush, plus Ahrefs, plus SERP robots. So we had a whole bunch of rank trackers set up, both on a local basis, so kilometer radius from the office, as well as organic keywords, and which is the standard sort of listing. So we could tell where we ranked for VoIP phone systems in Brisbane, or telematics, or GPS tracking Sydney. So once ranking was set up and the website was fully live, once again I'll just loop back around to this URL structure. Each and every single one of these pages that we built, we deconstructed at the time the top 10 competitors. So we created content that would be the average of the top 10. So we matched the average word count, the average words in bold, the average words in H1, H2, H3, and that formed baseline SEO service pages. We also put a big emphasis on EEAT signals. I know it's something that I'm ranting about now, but in 2017, 2018, 2020, we were already doing it. So things like interview from the business owner. This particular company had a lot of testimonial videos already from partner companies. These guys were a national brand, so they were already doing quite well. So we were able to get testimonial videos up on the site and really prove to Google that this is a legitimate business, because that was already established for over 10 years. We also created about 100 blogs. 20 were loaded straight up, basically 2 per an industry, 2 per a space, and within the first year there were about 100 blogs loaded up onto the site. This is at a time where ChatGPT wasn't around, and our blog creation system meant our blogs would skyrocket to the top of Google. Now, a lot of those that skyrocketed were on informational related terms, like what is VoIP, but then that blog and similar blogs like that were used to send internal juice to main pages, which were generating the leads. So it was awesome. Everything was pixel retargeted, and there were Facebook ads that were running at a small budget. So anyone that visits the website, anyone that comes from the Google ad will get retargeted on Facebook. So during the monthly campaign itself, every single month we revisited the target pages. We saw exactly where rankings were, whether they're moving up, whether they're moving down, and we sculpted them. We added more internal links, we added more general backlinks, links of all kinds, whether they're directory listicles from sites that I owned. At the time, we were doing quite a lot of directories, and at the time, those directories would actually hog results on Google. So my sites were recommending this site as the best managed print provider or VoIP provider and whatnot. That acts as a good backlink. We were buying quite a lot of guest posts, so a lot of money and time was going into acquiring backlinks. So that's what goes into the monthly SEO campaign, where you're checking reports, you're checking rankings, you're checking competitors, you're seeing what went up, you're seeing what went down, and this is the overall trend. Down here is us loading content onto the website. Google's recognizing that content. Up here, results from things being added to the site that are actually bringing money. So I remember working with these guys, and look, because they had an in-house marketing team, they were all great to work with, but I had to prove ourselves and justify all the movements. I'm the type of person that wants to jump in and just do what needs to be done and get the ball rolling. But when me and my team literally can handle everything that their marketing team does, they need to prove to the big boss while they exist. So things could have happened quicker if I had just gotten all the tools that I need to run the ship. How would I treat this? If this was today's campaign, I wouldn't treat this any different from an SEO perspective. This company had really good branding, they had good EAT signals, they had good natural links, so their branding was sorted. I would do the same thing, pull all of the keywords in the space, segment them via various intent, top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, informational intent, guide intent, publish the same content. I would spend a lot more time these days, like I do with my current clients, on creating video guide-like content, getting someone on camera, someone that represents the brand, someone that can run the users through the various service offerings, VoIP phones, how do I choose a VoIP phone for my business, cloud migration, what is that and how does it work? I look back at case studies, lot of proof of work. We did this for this client, this was the problem, this is what we did, this is how we delivered meaningful results. So if I was to start again, I would jump onto SEMrush and type in business phone systems. I would check the search volume. I'd begin with keyword research as always. I would export all of these key terms. I've got 2,400 keywords, total volume 12,000. Not all of these keywords are made different. I would look at these keywords, I would look at those keywords. I would make a big list. I would look at all the competitors. I would plan out the website URL structure that would meet all of the intent of these keywords. I would create guide-like content on the questions of that space. I would look at Reddit forums for current up-to-date user-generated content on that space. I would definitely be firing up a Google ad with a unique landing page with unique conversion tracking. I would even be targeting a Facebook ad with a small budget. There's a Facebook category called admin of Facebook page, which is generally the business owner. I'm not sure how popular printing is these days, but until you run the campaign, you just won't know. But it's good to diversify traffic sources. That helps with SEO. And of course, I would grab the top business phone system. You got Zoom, NextGen. I would deconstruct these advertisers. You got Telstra. That's a bad idea. Let's go after Photocopiers again. Business, Photocopiers, copier rental. Here we go. I would look at these competitors. Copy a choice. Bang. Copy a choice. This is the nice website I like. These guys went through a rebuild. This is literally the layout of the sites that I built in this space. We have a call to action form. This literally is the beginning of the funnel. This is actually one of the sites. This is the site that I was looking for. Let's have a quick look at them. So I'd pick out my favorite sites and I would deconstruct them. I would grab Screaming Frog, load it up, grab a beer and begin deconstructing. You can see not much from an SEO perspective. Oh, that's going back then. What's happening today? Let's disable pages. Sitting on 167 visitors a month, so nothing too flash going on the SEO front. Looks like they have been hitting the site with backlinks. So it looks like they maybe when they rebuilt that site, they started to focus on SEO. Let's have a look at their top pages. Instantly, there might be some nuggets here. We can say, oh, they've got this page. We can build this page as well. No doubt it's probably going to be like Photocopiers buy or lease office Photocopiers Perth. Okay, there it is. It's a geo page. I probably wouldn't have built it that way, but hey, it works. You can see the keyword that it ranks for. That one page gets more traffic than their homepage. Copy of choice, that ranks for copy of quote. I'd just be exporting all of this. Grab this, go to the next competitor, look at their keywords, look at their organic competitors, look at the keyword gaps. Like, it's all, just click these buttons. Grab it, you have information. We now have ChatGPT to help you organize that information, clean it up. I'm able to spend more time doing actual meaningful work because I have the tools like ChatGPT to clean up. Like, I used to spend hours and hours just sorting through keywords and removing duplicates and grouping things, whereas now that's so much quicker and easier. And back then it used to cook me. I used to just get cooked with the space and it would demotivate me, whereas now I'm just doing stuff that I really love doing. So these are the top 5 competitors. I would once again go to the library, was a copy of choice, and I would look at their copy of choice, see if they're running any Facebook ads. Maybe they are. Yep, looks like they are. No, that's not them. Do they have another site, APS Solutions, literally using the same layout that we had for one of our other clients? Let's have a look at these guys. No Facebook. About us. That's a big loss for them. No social media presence. What is going on there? Obviously a mistake. So it means they're not running Facebook ads, but I do believe that they're running Google ads when I had a look. Paid keywords, here they are. So you can see the exact keywords they're bidding on. Best printer for small business, A3 printer laser. Now, if Ahrefs is picking up these keywords, it means they've been up for a while. This is exactly where they're sending their traffic. So compare commercial printers. Did it open up? There it is. Compare commercial printers. So this is their landing page. So if I was to create a landing page that sells and fire up Google Ads traffic, I'd build a page that looks like that. Funny enough, our page for the last 5 years of running Google Ads in the space looks exactly like this. Why? Because it just works. Even on mobile, if you check it out. I was mucking around. You've got, bang, compare and save up to 40% on commercial multifunction. Bang, the benefits right there. There's the form. See you later. Off we go. So you've got a good structure of a landing page. Go build out a landing page like that. I would still consider sending Facebook ads traffic. I'd break it down 90-10. 10% Facebook ads, 90 Google ads. I would go and look at all of their pages. Here's all their pages. Literally go. I'd probably clean up a little bit, compare A3 multifunction printers. I don't like some of their URL structures, but this is just an opportunity to do it better. In fact, what we did back 5 years ago was the cleaner setup. So telematics, Melbourne, GPS, delivery management, VoIP phones, business phones, photocopiers. Look how clean that is. In fact, there was another client that we did much more comprehensive list. I can't share that data, but it's basically this on steroids. It's like A3 printer lease and a whole bunch of others. Hope that helps. And if you're in managed IT, managed print, this is exactly what you guys need to do. This was really cool. The new business came along, which was this domain. It was a different domain, and they basically said, hey, we can see all this amazing work that you guys have done. How do we retain that with the new site? And they already had a site. It was but no action from an SEO perspective. And so what we did, all of those pages and all the blogs, we essentially rebuilt them on the new website. And we told Google during the migration that, hey, Mr. Google, this is the old page, here is the new page. And we essentially reconnected the plumbing of SEO juice. So the SEO juice continued to flow onto the next site, the new site. And this is what happens when we just did that migration with no further SEO. Slowly but surely, that domain begins to die. And I think this business got bought out as well anyway, so that domain is no more. But look at this. One site goes up, as soon as it's redirected, the other site just skyrockets upwards. So it just means one domain was cannibalized completely, but a precise page-by-page redirection was in place. Unfortunately, what a lot of the time happens, and I see this with website rebuilds, is A new website gets designed, a new website goes live, no consideration for the old pages, and everything just gets redirected to the home page, if even that. And then you get a site indexed, pages indexed on Google, which are all 4 or 4 dead pages. Not good, because Google just then cleans them up and resets everything. So this was a really enjoyable campaign. It was a good brand to push and really enjoyable watching the rankings increase. Hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.